Hey guys, it's your favorite complex and flawed human being here. And today I kind of wanted to get real again. I have my glasses off, and yeah, I just kind of wanted to say that disabled people are not perfect, despite what the media may tell you, despite what you may personally think we are not angels. We are just as complex and flawed as any other human being. As you probably are, as your friends probably are, as everyone basically. And this sort of way of thinking genuinely does hurt disabled people because, you know, people think of us in terms of a dichotomy. Either we're all horribly bitter because of our situations, or we are saints, which is just false. That's not true at all. That's dehumanizing. And, you know, it has an effect because we're held to an unrealistic standard of purity when interacting with people. Um, so people just aren't willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. Now, some of that may just be the horn effect, right? We're outside of what people normally see in society, and they think negatively of us before they even get to know us. That's prejudice, but I think it's more so that they just think we're perfect when we're not. And I'm not saying, brothers and sisters, that you shouldn't hold yourself to a high moral and intellectual standard. You totally should, because you're worth that. But at the same time, people generally have an understanding that other people are flawed and they give them the benefit of the doubt. When you're held to such an unrealistic expectation, people are not willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. People don't forgive you um as easily. And once again, I'll say it, that's a form of dehumanization because it doesn't recognize us as complex beings worthy not only of having high expectations for ourselves and others, but also of forgiveness, of saying, okay, I understand you're this way, I forgive you. Instead, if we mess up once, it's done. You know what I mean? Um, and, you know, I'll give some examples from my youth. I already talked about my inkwell days. I'll leave a link to that probably in the description. But even when I was younger, man, my parents would use this to not hold me to account. And that's another thing. It basically says that we're useless. We are not capable of taking responsibility. And say what you will about my videos, but I've always made it clear, and I've always said that I take responsibility for my flaws, do I think that I get in that all disabled people most of the time get an inordinate reaction to those flaws? Yes, I do. I do, precisely because of those two dichotomous options or viewpoints that I talked about. But that still doesn't mean we can't take responsibility, and I do. And yeah, like when I was a little kid, guys, I don't know if you this is like a very like millennial or late millennial, I think, type thing, early Gen Z, but Bionicles? Well, Bionicles are these little like I don't know what you would call them, like robot Lego things based on um a like futuristic interpretation of Polynesian and Melanesian culture. And well, they used to sell them, and you would have to build them piece by piece, and it's very intricate. And one of my brothers loved to build them, and on birthdays and Christmases and stuff, he would always ask for Bionicles. He loved to build them. And then it's funny because my mom actually one year for his birthday got him a complete set of Bion. It was super expensive, but that was her gift to him. Anyway, so yeah, my brother would build Bionicles and he would leave them out for a while before putting them back in and deconstructing them and stuff because he just liked to look at it. Well, I mean, my parents would put me on the floor. My parents would um would have me crawl, right? Because that was good for me. That was like physical therapy for me. We rented a house from these Greek American couple, and this was when my parents were still technically together, so they had dual incomes in this like, you know, not necessarily a hood, but I would say lower middle class neighborhood, and it was kind of big, so I would go over there and I would crawl over there and I would knock down the Bionicle and ruin all my brother's work, and he would start crying. Yo, and then my parents would come home and they were like, "Who did this?" And I would be like, "I don't know," like lying basically. And then my other brother, who was not disabled, they would blame him. They would be like, "Why would you do this?" And my brother, my oldest brother, keep in mind he was like 8 years older than me. Now he had a a, a pattern of making us do weird stuff, and I was no exception. But he would be like, "Mom, Dad, I didn't do this. Please believe me." And they wouldn't believe him, and he would get in trouble. He would get grounded until one day my parents set up a camera and they noticed I would go over and knock down the Bionicle, and I got in trouble after that. But it's precisely because my own parents thought I could do no wrong that my oldest brother got in trouble wrongly. And that's the type of stuff, that's why it's harmful. So I'm here to say I'm not perfect. And I hope that you can come to that understanding for other disabled people too. All right, bye.